Let me ask you something uncomfortable. How much of your life have you already wasted pretending to learn? You sit with a book, you watch tutorials, you take notes. But if I stop you tomorrow and ask you what you actually retained, how much of it would remain? Be honest. Most people learn at the speed of a snail, not because they are dumb, but because they are trapped in an outdated method of learning that was designed in the 19th century to produce obedient factory workers, not sharp, adaptable minds. Now here's the brutal truth. Geniuses don't necessarily have a bigger brain than you. They don't secretly have more hours in their day. They simply know a way to learn that cuts through wasted effort, like a knife through butter. They know how to extract knowledge in half the time, with double the retention. And unless you learn this hack, you'll always feel like you're running a marathon, while others are sprinting past you with zero effort. Think about it. Your school never taught you how to learn. They only told you what to learn. That's like giving someone a hammer, but never showing them how to swing it. And here's where the manipulation begins. The system wants you to struggle. Why? Because when you think learning is slow and painful, you accept mediocrity as normal. You become easier to control, easier to compete against, easier to leave behind. But imagine flipping the script. Imagine sitting down with a book or skill, and instead of drowning in information, you feel clarity so sharp it feels almost unfair. Imagine compressing what takes others months into weeks, or what takes weeks into days. That's not a fantasy. It's exactly what this proven hack does. It rewires the way your brain absorbs, processes, and locks in knowledge. Once you see it, you'll never be able to go back to the slow way of learning again. And I'll tell you why this is dangerous. Because once you unlock this ability, you become threatening. People will think you're a genius, but in reality, you'll just be playing with a hidden advantage they were too blind to use. You'll have more free time. You'll outperform classmates, colleagues, even so-called experts, without burning yourself out. And here's the kicker. You'll feel smarter, sharper, more confident in every single area of your life. Because you'll know one thing they don't. Learning is not about time spent. It's about the method you use. So stay with me, because what I'm about to share is not another motivational cliche, not some recycled study tip you've heard 100 times. This is the single switch that separates the average from the extraordinary. By the end of this, you'll understand how to learn anything in half the time, like a smart genius. Step 1. Destroy the information prison. Stop linear learning. Most people are trapped in what I call the information prison. They believe learning is a straight line. Read page 1, then page 2, then page 3. That's the slowest way to learn. Your brain isn't built to absorb information in order. It's built to spot patterns, connections, and meaning. Here's the hack. Instead of consuming information in a straight line, scan it like a hunter. Flip through the book, the lecture, or the course quickly. Get the big picture first. This creates a mental map. Why? Because when your brain sees the whole forest before the trees, it stops getting lost. Instead of forcing facts into your memory, you invite them in. This is why geniuses can skim something once and already talk intelligently about it. They don't read every word. They map it. If you still learn in a linear, step-by-step way, you're chained to the slowest method ever invented. And the system loves that, because slow learners stay average. But once you break the prison and map information first, your brain automatically cuts your learning time in half. Step 2. Weaponize curiosity, the dopamine trigger. Here's a brutal truth. You don't forget things because your memory is weak. You forget because your brain didn't care enough. The brain is wired to keep only what triggers emotion or curiosity. That's why you can remember a random childhood fight, but forget the chapter you studied last week. Smart learners manipulate their own dopamine. They don't just passively read, they ask dangerous questions. Instead of, "What does this mean?" they ask, "How could I use this to beat someone smarter than me?" Or, "How would I explain this in one sentence to someone who thinks I'm dumb?" These questions inject tension, curiosity, and ego into learning. Suddenly, your brain feels like keeping the information because it thinks it's survival, not study. If you skip this, you'll keep forgetting. But when you attach curiosity and ego to learning, you trick your brain into locking the knowledge permanently. That's why geniuses never seem to study hard. They simply care differently. Step 3. The compression hack. Turn knowledge into 20%. Here's the dirty secret. 80% of what you learn is useless fluff. Schools, textbooks, and courses are padded with filler to make them look bigger, to keep you trapped in the grind. But geniuses don't play that game. They hunt for the 20% that controls the 80%. The hack is this: every time you learn, stop and ask, what's the one rule here that makes everything else fall into place? For example, in math, formulas are just applications of a handful of core principles. In martial arts, hundreds of moves come down to a few angles and leverage points. In business, all strategies boil down to persuasion and numbers. Once you find the skeleton of the knowledge, the rest collapses into place. This is why people think geniuses learn faster. They don't. They just compress knowledge into a smaller framework. While you're memorizing 100 rules, they've identified the one principle that explains all 100. Step 4. The recall loop. Active manipulation of memory. This is the step most people avoid, and it's why they fail. People think rereading or highlighting helps. Wrong. That's passive. Passive learning makes your brain lazy, and lazy brains forget. Geniuses use the recall loop. Here's how it works. Instead of rereading, you shut the book, shut the notes, and force yourself to recall the information in your own words. Not once, not twice, but in tight cycles. First after 10 minutes, then after a few hours, then after a day. Every time you recall, you carve the information deeper into your brain. It's not practice, it's brain manipulation. When you do this, your brain gets addicted to retrieving the knowledge. The more it retrieves, the more it strengthens. This loop makes you bulletproof in exams, business pitches, debates, even fights. Because while others panic and forget, your brain is already wired to recall under pressure. Step 5. Apply ruthlessly. Learning without action is decay. Here's the final piece, and it's the one that separates geniuses from the herd. Knowledge without application is rot. Your brain doesn't respect information that sits idle. It deletes it. That's why most students forget 90% of what they learn within weeks. Smart learners hack this by immediately doing something dangerous with the knowledge. They explain it, test it, challenge it, even argue about it. The faster you turn learning into action, the faster your brain locks it as a skill instead of disposable trivia. Think of knowledge like muscle. If you don't flex it, it withers. But the moment you use it, even sloppily, it grows stronger. Geniuses don't waste time preparing forever. They jump in, fail fast, and absorb 10 times more because of it. So here's the ugly truth. If you stick to the old methods, you'll keep wasting time, losing focus, and forgetting everything you worked so hard to learn. But if you break the prison, weaponize curiosity, compress information, force recall, and apply ruthlessly, you will learn anything in half the time. And people will start calling you a genius even though you're just using the cheat code they never knew existed. Now here's the part I really want to know from you. Be honest. How much time have you actually wasted in your life pretending to study while your brain was on autopilot? Was it months, years, maybe even your entire school life? Drop it in the comments, because trust me, you're not alone, and half the people watching this video are secretly nodding right now. And here's my challenge for you. Which of these hacks are you going to test today? Not tomorrow, not next week, today. Tell me in the comments, because I guarantee the ones who actually apply this will feel the difference in 24 hours, while the ones who just watch and scroll will be stuck in the same trap forever. And if you've got your own secret brain hacks, the weird tricks you use to learn faster, share them below. Who knows? Maybe your comment becomes the hack that blows someone else's mind. So, are you going to keep learning like a factory robot? Or are you going to finally steal the genius advantage? The comments are waiting.